Hello, this is Mark Swanson, Wall Street Window. I've got a very special guest with me today. I'm speaking with Matt Morris, who runs the website Microcapmillionaires. How you doing today, Matt?
Hey, I'm doing great, Mike. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done an interview, although I speak to you more frequently than we do these interviews, that's for sure.
Right.
But there's been a lot been happening in the markets and the market environment. It kind of is a little different than it was a year ago in some ways. So I'm curious, what's your take on what's going on this summer, and what do you think are the best ways to make money in this market?
Yeah. Well, again, it's great to be here, Mike, and always enjoy talking with you. And so, I guess overall, from the general market perspective, I do like to kind of keep my eyes on the big picture. I do like focus on little cheapy microcap stocks, but I think it would be foolish for me not to look at the big picture as well at the same time. So, my kind of finger on the pulse of the market right now, Mike, is sort of I'm looking at things here where we're pre-election, yet another presidential election next year. I think the market is kind of starting to price in a little bit of uncertainty about whether or not Trump's going to win re-election. And I think if there's more uncertainty about that, I think the market will be a little nervous about that, because if he loses, the Democrat who would take office would, of course, not be pro-business, at least not as much as Trump. So I think that's starting to be factored in a little bit. I don't think we're really going to get a trade deal with China. I think maybe we'll have a little bit of, jousting back and forth with them, maybe a little bit more progress than we have had. But ultimately, I kind of doubt we're going to get a trade deal until after the election. I think the Chinese are kind of waiting it out to see if Trump's going to win re-election or not. So anyways, I think with all that being said, I think the markets kind of have a glass ceiling above them. Not saying we can't go to more highs from here. We're pretty much at the highs right now, as we're doing this interview. But I don't think we're going to moonshot higher like we did, a couple of years ago. I think we're pretty much going to be range bound in the market. So with that being said, if we're range bound, we're almost like in a channel, going from support back to resistance, then back to support, and then back up to resistance. I think essentially it's going to look it might get a little, of course, not neat and orderly, but I think essentially that's what we're going to do. Is we're just going to trade in a range on all the indexes. All the ETFs are going to trade in a range. You'll probably have some stocks that do well. Some of the tech stocks will probably keep making new highs. But overall, I think the market's going to go sideways, basically. Maybe with a little bit of an upward tilt from now until the election next year.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me, what you're saying. I mean, I know last year we dumped, the market fell 20%, and sometimes I like to short stocks, and if you get that right, you can make a quick return, because stocks can fall when they do more than or quicker than when they go up. But I don't see any sign that that's going to happen, that we're on the verge of some drop that makes it worth shorting stocks. And then at the same time, it doesn't look, week by week, there's not a huge amount of upward gains happening. I mean, it may go up a little bit a day, but it's not, I looked this weekend and the market's like up 1% from where it was last Labor Day. It's not that exciting.
Right.
But there is action, and some other stuff. I mean, gold's made an interesting move. The marijuana stocks, they make interesting moves for sure. And so do, the right penny stocks. So I think there's some exciting things going on. But yes, the stock market averages themselves kind of probably boring. It's tough. I find it, honestly, in this kind of market, very difficult to actually make a lot of money trying to trade the SPY ETF or short ETFs and so forth.
Yeah, it can be really tricky, especially if you're trying to pick one direction and sort of stick with it. I think you have to put on your bull hat and sometimes your bear hat within a small sort of period of time, and then be willing to switch back and forth. So, basically Mike, the way I'm thinking about the market and opportunities that I take in the instruments that I trade, which is a lot of cheap stocks and some options too, even some crypto too. But what I do is basically I'm becoming more, at least for the time being, probably for, I don't know, the next year, maybe longer than that. What I used to try to focus on was try to get in these cheap stocks, maybe $1, $2, $5, $10 a share, and try to get in them before they have like a really substantial move, 25, 50, sometimes 100%. And don't get me wrong, I still try to aim for that when I see the opportunity. But basically what I've just been doing now is I'm just kind of becoming a flipper. Just my subscribers of my service, Microcap Millionaires, will, if they're paying attention anyways, they would, I'm sure, attest to that. So basically I'll just look for these microcap companies that I have a good feel for, meaning I know more about them than just what the chart says. So I'll go read the conference call transcripts. I'll look at their 10Qs on the SEC website. I'll get a good feel of whether or not the management is competent or whether they're average. So I'll get a good feel for these companies and their earnings dates, and so I keep my ear to the ground with all that stuff, and I'll basically just flip in and out of these stocks. As an example, there was an upgrade in a cheap little penny stock, an oil service penny stock. It was NBR, so I think that's Neighbors Energy, and it went up from the $2 range. Just had a horrible first half of the year, and just got oversold more so than it should have. And then it got an upgrade. I want to say the upgrade was a week, maybe two ago. And it got an upgrade, and it shot from $2.10 all the way to over $3. So, I'd like to tell you I got in at 209 before it shot higher to $3, but I didn't. So basically, after the upgrade though, what I did is I sat around and waited for a decent entry in it, and I didn't get the greatest entry in it, so I alerted it around 270 a share, and then a couple days later it shot up over $3, almost to $3.10, I believe, and so that's where I sent my sell alert. So we got in at 270 and we got out at 310. I don't know, what is that? 15% or something, I don't know, but just doing little flips like that, where if as long as you're using if you're only using $100 to trade, $500, it's going to be harder to make that substantial. But as long as you're using maybe, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000 or more, it makes the flips worthwhile, and it's kind of fun actually, because it really keeps your brain engaged in trading, opposed to just buying these stocks and holding 5 or 10 of them and hoping one of them goes to the moon for you. So I'm kind of liking it, opposed to the way I used to trade, which was buying the cheap penny stocks and kind of building positions and waiting for them to explode. So that's kind of the approach I'm taking, is more of a flipping approach than looking for the 100, 200% winners.
Well, one interesting thing about that NBR stock is it trades on the New York Stock Exchange, and it's not really it's got a $1 billion market cap. I mean, it's a cheap stock, but it's not a microcap stock,
Right.
really, and
Yeah.
and that gives people the opportunity. Yeah, if people use a broker like Robinhood, they can trade that for free. So you can have a small amount of money and trade a stock like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really not up to speed on the new kind of the millennial friendly kind of brokers like Robinhood. I just haven't got around to opening an account with those companies. But yeah, I mean, I have heard some good things. So you're telling me another good thing about it. So yeah, I mean, if you're really kind of trying to pinch pennies and avoid fees on your trades, I guess you could use something like Robinhood and flip in and out of the cheapies. And I call it a microcap. You said it had $1 billion market cap. So I use that term loosely, I suppose, Mike. When I'm talking, I just look at the price per share.
Oh, I know what you mean.
So, but yeah, that's basically the approach. Another one was Organigram, which is a ticker symbol OGI. They just listed on the New York Stock Exchange earlier this year, I think in the spring. And so that's a Canadian Mary Jane company. And so I flipped in and out of that one a few times too, just based on, following the trends of the overall sector, but also knowing that it's a pretty well-run company. I think it's one of the only profitable marijuana companies, at least for a few quarters. I don't know if they're still profitable right now. I got to double check. But stuff like that is stuff I'll kind of take note of and say, okay, so this is a cheap stock, at least price per share wise, and so I know if it's at support, since it's a well-run company, those are the stocks that tend to hold support more often than drift lower. You know what I mean? Because there's more of a quality feel to the company. So those are the stocks I'll try to get in and out of. Like I said, NBR got an upgrade, so that shows some favor from Wall Street, and people like to see upgrades. So I'll look for a catalyst, and I'll also play the chart and say, hey, the odds are this thing is probably not going to keep going up and up and up. So let's just take a profit and wait for it to come back down, get back in it, and flip it again.
Yeah, or move on to the next trade, really. It's all
Right.
about getting that set up.
Yeah. And it's funny. I when I first kind of noticed I was kind of being drawn to the style of trading and this style of alerts to my service subscribers, I was I was a little nervous that I was going to lose a lot of subscribers because it's like, I'm like, oh man, these people want, 100%. They want 500, they want five baggers, and I know those are fun and I like them too, but I was a little worried that people were going to get turned off by it because what I found myself doing was alerting trades on the same 4 or 5 stocks sort of over and over again. And, but to my surprise, people like it. And so I'm glad they like it because I like trading like that. Because basically it allows you to get really comfortable with a certain stock and a certain company behind the stock too. And, you just kind of treat it as your own little personal ATM machine.
Yeah, you kind of get a feel for what how the stock moves, so you kind of get an idea of what kind of setup works for that specific stock the more you do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's a big thing, especially for someone new or starting out in trading to get comfortable at it is to do that, to do something that is working and winning, and in a certain way, shorter term trades are a good way to build confidence that way too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So again, the feedback has been very positive from my subscribers, in sort of a, you know, way where I switched gears with the service and took a different approach. Now there are some things that people have to watch out for, which makes it a good idea to subscribe to a service like mine. Is that even if you're going to be flipping even in and out of these stocks, you have to be aware of certain things that are like a pothole that you could fall into, so to speak. Like you have to know what's on the calendar for a company. If you try to go in and say a stock's at support, say it trades between $8 and $10 a share on the regular, well, you see it down by $8, so you buy shares, not knowing that 2 days later or that evening they're reporting earnings. Well, if they report dismal earnings, that stock could gap down to $5 the next day, and they're so that's why it's a good idea. Of course, I'm biased here, but to subscribe to a service like mine where we keep our ear to the ground for you and help you navigate around those potential pitfalls and get in the flips when it's an ideal opportunity, but also kind of stay on the sidelines if there's a variable that we don't want to let hurt
Well,
us.
what I was thinking about when I was about the Robinhood thing is most of the stocks that you're trading, it sounds like are big board stocks, or they're on one of the three major exchanges. They're not
Right.
OTC stocks, I'm guessing.
Correct. Yeah, I really don't mess with them anymore, Mike.
Well, so that Robinhood broker, I opened up an account with them, so that's one reason they're on my mind. But they won't let you trade these OTC stocks. So a lot of these millennials and people on these apps, they're really limited. They can't do the OTC stocks,
Hmm.
and your service then is kind of perfect for them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it is. And those those issues have always been there. I've always had emails from people telling me that they couldn't buy a certain stock, but
And
that
honestly, these type of stocks you're trading, they're more liquid anyway. I mean, you're kind of
yeah,
bet if you want to trade stuff like this, you're better off doing liquid stocks. So these stocks that don't trade 100,000 shares a day, and
yeah,
there's no money going in and out of them really.
yes, that's true. And the great thing about this is it can be scaled too, because like you said, MBR trades on the New York Stock Exchange, trades millions and millions of dollars every day. So if you want to flip in with say, 1,000 shares, great. But you could also flip it with 10,000 shares if you wanted to. So not really have any concerns about liquidity.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, it's great. You name your profit goal. You can pretty much attain it if things go as planned.
Well, if you could you tell people what actually is involved in your service?
Yeah, so a pretty good overview of it is I like to keep it simple, Mike. So when they sign up, you get access to a members only area. So I'll post all my updates in there for current picks, and you can also go back and look at a long history of stock picks and how they played out and stuff like that. Alerts, and then there's also a course. They get a free course for penny stock trading that is included as a bonus. And then aside from that, I'll send them the alerts right to their email. Also have an optional service for text alerts, the buy and sell alerts sent to your cell phone as long as you have a U.S. area code. And I try to keep things brief, but I also try to fill people in just a little bit on the backstory. So I'll say if I want to alert MBR, I'll say I won't just say buy alert MBR at 270. Let's see how it goes, Matt. So I'll tell them that I'm alerting NBR as a buy, but I'll also kind of give a little bit of the backstory. I'll say, okay, I like it on the chart here, but also this is a beaten down oil company that just got a really good upgrade from an analyst. And so kind of give them the backstory there. Also kind of talk about, okay, the oil prices are rebounding, so that's also another good factor here in play if we want to try to flip this stock here for a little bit of range. So I'll try to give some a little bit I'll try to paint the picture, the background of the picture, not just the main focus of it, because I think that way it's a little more entertaining, but also people learn. And of
Hmm.
course, people want to buy and sell alerts, but they also want to learn some. And I like the idea of if someone were to subscribe to my service for any amount of time, that they would hopefully make some money and have some fun, enjoy my writing style a little bit, and also have something that they learn that maybe they could relate to someone else and help someone else make some money in the stock market.
Well, if they want to get in, where do they go to get it? Well, I'll have a link to a page of the information with this video on my website. But
Right. Yeah. So what we're going to do, Mike, is uh, it just kind of triggers something as we've been talking here today. I'm actually due to open up a 50% off deal.
oh, okay,
Yeah. So last time I did this was last summer. So so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a special offer where we do it for 50% off. So it's usually 97 a month.
mm,
So it's going to be for $49 a month. So right about 50% off. They can subscribe and still get all the bonuses, still get all the alerts the same way anybody else would that pays full price,
okay,
and access to the members area, all that jazz. Be able to personally email me and get feedback from me, things like that. And
okay,
so yeah, we'll just uh, I'll get that set up and everything, and you can post the link, and that's for your subscribers. And I'll go ahead and start.
okay.
I'll start that 50% off special here. As soon as we get off the phone.
Oh,
Um,
great. Well,
Yeah,
thanks for doing that. I mean, that'll get some of these people in there at a pretty damn good price, to say the least.
right.
Great
Yeah,
way to get started.
yeah.
And
So, that's been
it's kind of timely. I mean, I think of July, Independence Day and freedom. Is no better. It's a good way to. It's kind of linked to that too. It's kind of fits the week.
exactly, yeah. And I did this last summer too, and it's been, of course, the deal has been closed down since last summer ended. So, we're already kind of getting into the middle of summer here. It's already July, so it won't last long. So
Okay.
once the sale is disabled, then then it's gone. But yeah, for the time being, from the time that people are listening to this and able to click that link, it should be good to go. And
Okay. Great.
yeah, the page will have that they go to will have a little bit more information and a video about the service and stuff like that. But hopefully, folks are pretty excited after they hear this interview because this new flipping kind of approach that I'm taking really is a heck of a lot of fun.
Well, in a way, that's oh, that's a whole other story. But I was about to say that's kind of how I started out trading. I started with a small account, and was doing a short-term trading strategy in stocks like you're talking about, and then it's a great way to take a small account and grow it, and that's there's nothing better than doing that, to say the least.
Yeah, and growing the account and of course doing whatever you want with the money. I think this month I'm probably going to pay myself a little bit. Once in a while I'll
Mhm.
do that. I'll pay myself a little bit for my trading and profits. Sometimes 5 grand, maybe 10 grand, something like that. But it's just kind of fun to actually see money come out of your trading account and go into your personal account where
Oh, sure.
you almost feel like a Wall Street trader, making money from your hedge fund or whatever. And it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, and
But
I think a lot of us, have either multiple accounts or multiple strategies in one account that we're doing. I know I'm doing that. I've got an account set up just for basically microcap stocks. So, and with interest rates so low, it's
yeah,
difficult for people to make, you know, what they should make on their money. So you kind
yeah,
of need a trading strategy or something to make that kind of income that you're talking about, where you can take some money out of an account off of profits,
hmm
because you can't really do it that well on dividends and interest, from the bank. That's for sure. So,
yeah. The way to make money is to be active. I mean, I understand passive investing and all that stuff. That's great. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a way to probably do better than being passive and also learn and genuinely enjoy it as a trader, then I think I have something that be right up the listener's alley here, especially as this kind of flipping friendly environment continues where stocks kind of drift higher, but I don't think they're gonna kind of soar higher without looking back. They're gonna go up, they're gonna touch resistance, they're gonna come back, and it's just a perfect flippers environment in my opinion, especially in stocks at $2, $5, $10 a share that I'm familiar with and that I've been trading successfully now for a good while, and I think it's going to continue to be that way.
yeah. Well, I highly recommend anyone listening to this go click the link, sign up, check it out, get involved, get started, get moving, and we'll have to do more frequent interviews going forward. But thanks for taking the time to talk with me and everyone else out there in YouTube land.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.